boxes from Meals on Wheels. The stairs are dark, but they work. They lead down to a wrought iron gate which opens to Turk Street. In the mornings, before sunrise, I'd take the stairs and push through the gate and wander around a few blocks to see if I was being followed. When I was sure that I was alone, and you might be surprised how very alone you can be in the Tenderloin just before dawn, I'd walk toward the Civic Center. I have a 2-room office over there, close to the courthouses. Courthouses draw the kinds of people who need what I sell. But for 5 weeks, I've only had one client. I was running the clock 24 hours a day. I'd get to the office early and sort through the mail. I'd check my messages and pay whatever bills needed to be paid. I had to keep up with my life, such as it was. I'd call the man who received my invoices and sign my checks, and then I'd slink back to my listening post in the Westchester before first light. That's what I was heading to do on the first Tuesday in June when I pushed out of the gate and checked the cars parked on Turk. I was most concerned about windowless vans. They're the easiest to picture. Joe's Plumbing stenciled on the doors. A half-dozen FBI and DEA agents hiding inside, crouched around video monitors and talking into radios. But if they were there, I didn't see them. I did a loop around the block, and when I was satisfied that all was clear, I turned west, toward Van Ness and my office. I was halfway into my walk when I saw the car. It was parked on the sidewalk across the street, directly in front of the Refugio apartments. Not just any car, but a Rolls Royce Wraith. It had recently undergone a transformation from brand new to totally destroyed. I assumed it was an accident and crossed the street to get a better look. Professional curiosity. I was one step removed from the ambulance-chasing business. But drawing closer, I realized my initial impression wasn't quite right. The car hadn't been hit from the front or from either side. The car's chrome grille and smoke-gray hood were immaculate. Its roof was caved in as far down as its gold-plated door handles. Lying inside the crumpled indentation was a perfect blonde. She wore a black cocktail dress, sheer and shimmery in the streetlights. I couldn't see any blood except on her left foot, where it had run down the back of her calf and onto her heel. Her hands were folded across her chest, and her eyes were closed. Her hair was spread in a fan across the Wraith's roof. She had an evening bag looped around her right wrist. One foot was bare. Maybe she'd lost a shoe on impact. Her toenails were painted white, like the inside of a shell. I looked around. Across the street, on a bed of flattened boxes, lay a man. He wore a full-body black snowsuit, and he was either asleep or unconscious. He was either asleep or unconscious a lot. 5 weeks on Turk Street, and I could smell Snowsuit Man from 2 blocks away if the wind was right. If the sound of the woman hitting the car had woken him up, it hadn't disturbed him so much that he stayed awake. And he and I were the only people around, or at least at street level. There was no way to account for whoever might be watching from a dark window, and I didn't even try. I stepped closer. The woman wasn't breathing. I reached out carefully and put my fingers beneath her chin. I pressed gently against her throat, searching for her carotid. She was warm, but there was no pulse. I looked up and down the sidewalk again, then back at the Refugio. 14 stories, 100-year-old brickwork forming arches and columns on the lower 2 floors. There were no open windows above the car, but there were ledges. She could have inched onto one and then shut the window, or she could have gone off the roof. But none of that explained her patent leather evening bag, her diaphanous dress, and the insanely expensive car she'd crushed when she landed. None of that made sense on Turk Street in front.